Dear Director Calleja-Crespo, I am very pleased to have the opportunity to address you within the Brussels International Catholic Schools project, Yes, Yes, No, No interviews. Since 1986, you have been at the European Commission. You worked in several commissioners' cabinets, including the President of the European Commission. You are the head of cabinet for both a commissioner responsible for institutional affairs and a vice president in charge of transport and energy. Until 2015, you were Director General of the Directorate General Internal Market, Industry, Entrepreneurship, and Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises. Since 2015, you are in your current position. Now, given your experience and the nature of your managerial work, I am sure you have to provide international students with a relevant opinion on environmental matters, as well as advise them regarding their related future studies. But before starting, let me remind you that the BICS, Yes, Yes, No, No interviews are based on the concept of the Gospel of Matthew. Let your words be simply yes or no. So, I would ask you to answer my questions always by starting with either a clear yes or a clear no. Do you agree to it?
Yes.
The EU environment policy shall preserve, protect, and improve the quality of the environment, protect human health, promote prudent and rational utilization of natural resources, and promote measures at international level to deal with regional or worldwide environmental problems. About such objectives, has the EU so far been able to both make it happen and particularly to connect with European citizens to have them understanding what the EU has been delivering?
I would say yes. Over the past 40 years, the EU has been very active in environmental policy. Environmental policy was not, at the beginning, a policy in the treaty. We had the Common Agricultural Policy, we had transport policy, we had customs union, but we did not have the environment. The environment came later. Why did it come? Because there was an awareness that we needed to do more and that we have a responsibility. And then the EU became very active. And today, the European Union has the most advanced legislation in the area of environment in the world. Thanks to it, we have improved the quality of the water we drink. We have much better standards than we did some decades ago. We have improved the quality of the earth we breathe. We have led the world in climate action, fighting against climate change. We have developed the legislation on chemicals, the REACH system to register, evaluate, and authorize all the substances in the chemical sector to protect the health and the environment of our citizens. We have also worked very hard in the area of waste, and we are promoting a circular economy. We have the nature strategy. The Nature Natura 2000 is the biggest network of protected natural sites in the world. 1 million square kilometers, 27,000 sites. And we see that European citizens are more and more interested and supportive of what we do in the environment. 95% of EU citizens say the environment is a priority. And 2 out of 3 say the EU should be doing even more. When we did the last consultation on nature, we had 550,000 citizens saying, Commission, nature is important. You have to protect it. You have to work for it. You have to defend biodiversity. So yes, there is awareness. Yes, there is a lot of support for the environment. And yes, the European Union has done a lot. Is it enough? No, because we have big challenges ahead of us. But I'm sure you're going to ask me later about this.
Much. Environment is back as a very hot topic among youth. Were you caught by surprise from such a sudden and high-level popularity on environmental topics among youth? More importantly, is the EU able to meet the current demand from youth, or is it lagging behind?
No, I was not surprised, because when you work for the environment, you are working long term. You are not working in the short term. And when you see the challenges that we have, it is normal that the younger generations are reacting, because they are saying, will we be able to live in this planet in the future? You have students, even pupils in the street saying, enough about words, we need action. Which planet are you going to leave us to live in? Will we still have a planet, or will we have destroyed it? The impact of climate change, the impact of pollution, the problems of desertification. We have a lot of challenges ahead of us. Are we able to respond to them? I believe we are making progress. I believe yes, but provided we step up our action in the coming years. The Treaty of Paris is very important. We have a global agreement to try to limit the increase of temperatures up to 2 degrees. But already 2 degrees is very high. It is having an impact on the biodiversity. We are losing a lot of species every year. We are working also with the Sustainable Development Goals, which is a universal strategy, 17 goals to improve the economy, to improve the society, and to improve the environment. The water we drink, the state of quality of the oceans, biodiversity, sustainable production and consumption, ending with hunger, ending with poverty, gender equality is a very broad agenda where the environment is very important. But in the future, we need to do more. We need to connect more with the citizens. We need to provide more awareness and also more examples that the EU is committed. And we need to understand that the environment is global and that we need also global action. Even if Europe does a lot of things, if these things are not spread across the world, it will not be enough. And we also need to understand that it is up to each individual person, and that small things that you do every day can also help to meet the environmental challenges and to do positive things for the planet.
About a century ago, an American journalist, Henry Louis Mencken, wrote, "For every complex problem, there is an answer that is clear, simple, and wrong." Do we have cases where the quality of the environment and the rational utilization of natural resources do not go in the same direction than urgent social needs, such as speeding up economic growth in less developed countries?
I would say, I cannot say yes and I cannot say no. So I would say no, not in the European Union. I think we have examples where we show it is possible to decouple economic growth from environmental damage. I will give you an example. In the past 20 years, the European Union has been able to grow, to increase its GDP, and at the same time to reduce its emissions. We have been able to increase our GDP 46% and we have reduced our emissions 26%. So it is possible to decouple economic growth from negative impact of the environment. It is possible to grow in a sustainable way. It is possible to conduct your economy in a way that you are not polluting, that you are not harming the planet, that you are doing it in a sustainable way. This is what we call the circular economy. If we reduce, we reuse, we recycle, we will pollute less, we will have more economic benefits because we will reduce the consumption and the costs of energy and raw materials. We will have new jobs, we will have innovation, and we will reduce our emissions. So yes, it is possible to decouple economic growth from environmental damage. And the most competitive companies in the world are those who have understood that being sustainable is not an extra cost. Being sustainable is a big economic advantage, and that if you invest in sustainability, you are also investing in competitiveness. Having said that, I also said no because it's true that we still have a lot of problems, and in some parts of the world, this is not happening. You have more pollution, and this is associated as growing means more pollution. This is incorrect. The European Union has shown that it is possible to grow, to be competitive, but at the same time to be sustainable.
My next question is about another potential trade-off. On the one hand, we have that the EU is to protect, conserve, and enhance its natural capital. Additionally, the EU wants to be resource efficient, green, and low carbon. Moreover, the EU must implement environment legislation. The EU is to make the Union cities more sustainable as well. Furthermore, the EU helps to address international, environmental, and climate challenges. On the other hand, we are in need of jobs, reducing enterprises' costs and deficit in member states' countries. Budget. Put together, this is a lot. Can the EU really contribute to worldwide environmental goals under the 2030 United Nations Sustainable Development Agenda without hampering its own enterprises' competitiveness and economic growth?
Yes, and I think I was replying to your question before. It is possible to conduct the Sustainable Development Goals agenda. It is possible to have economies which deliver prosperity, because we need prosperity for our citizens. Every year we have in the world many people, in particular in Asia, which are prospering. We are increasing the middle classes, and they have a demand for a certain number of products, services. So the economy has to continue meeting the needs of people, but it is possible to do it in a sustainable way. It is possible to do so in a way that you do not pollute. It is possible to do it in a way that you are protecting the environment, that you are reducing pollution, and through innovation you are able to create new skills, new jobs, and make the environment a tool to compete. And there are great possibilities, and I will give you some examples so you understand. We have a big problem in the world on plastics. Plastics are everywhere. We say 5 seconds to produce a plastic bag, 5 minutes to consume it, 5 centuries to eliminate it from the environment. Plastics are ending in the oceans. We have a 6th continent of plastics in Asia, and the European Union is leading in the world. We have a plastic strategy. We are going to restrict single-use plastics. We are also going to work against microplastics. And there are companies now that are confronted with this environmental challenge. They are developing new business models. I was the other day meeting some representatives from a company that used to fish fish. By the way, if nothing is done by 2050, we will have more plastics than fish in the oceans. This company has stopped fishing fish. They fish plastics. They get the plastics, they recycle them, and they create clothes. An environmental challenge becomes a business opportunity. I had another company who came to see me called Sea2Sea. Sea, the seas, the oceans, to sea. They are fishing plastics, and they are producing plastic glasses. An environmental challenge becomes a business opportunity. There are companies working on recycling mobile phones and electronics. Out of this, you can get valuable raw materials. So there are many examples, even for SMEs, even for startups, where you can transform an environmental problem into a business opportunity. There was another company who told me, you are working in the area of metals. How do you get the metals? I get them for free. How do you get them for free? We are cleaning military camps, shooting camps. All the lead and all the material, the metallic material from the bullets, which is wasted, which is polluting the environment, can be collected, and you have a new resource. The whole concept is that waste is a resource, and that there is a new economy where trying to maximize the value of resources, you develop new economic opportunities, new economic models, many for young people, for SMEs. When you are cleaning up a beach, or when you are cleaning up nature, there are a lot of valuable materials that can be reinserted in the economic cycle. Fighting against food waste also gives possibilities. All these banks to make donations for food. I mean, there are many possibilities along, or some materials which can be used into energy. I mean, there are lots of economic opportunities, but we have to move in this circular economy. And this is why I was replying positively that it is possible to do it. And in Europe, we are doing it.
A final question, building, among others, on the issue of plastics in the oceans. The European Parliament recently agreed on the ambitious measures proposed by the Commission to tackle marine litter from single-use plastic products. However, is it correct to say that, globally speaking, the environment remains more in the autonomous hands of each state rather than international organizations such as European Union and United Nations?
No, I think this would be incorrect. There has been a lot of work in the United Nations. There has been a lot of work in the European Union, and we are seeing progress. In the last meeting of the United Nations in Nairobi, where I was, we negotiated with 185 countries in the world, and there was an agreement to reduce single-use plastics in the oceans. We are also working very well in the framework of international conventions, the Convention on Protection of Biodiversity, Paris Agreement. So there are efforts done at international level to do better. It is difficult because we have to get on board many countries. It is difficult because the subjects are complex, but it is the only way forward because the environment is global. So we need global solutions, and we need international agreements to move forward. We would like to have an international agreement to fight marine litter, a global effort from the world to eliminate plastic pollution. So solutions are there. I don't think it is correct to say no, there are not enough efforts. I think the efforts are there, but of course it takes time. And our challenge is that we have very little time to deliver. We have 1 decade to save the planet. We have by 2030 to put in place many measures to agree globally, but I think it is possible to do so. If we have the political will, we can change the situation. We have the citizen support, we have the support of the business sector, who is increasingly aware that they have to change the way we produce, the way we consume. And I think it will not be easy, but if we work hard, the European Union has shown its leadership in many areas. Many people said the Paris Agreement would never happen. It happened. Many people were skeptical about the Sustainable Development Goals. It happened. Our plastic strategy, we delivered it in a record time to address the problems of pollution. What we are doing to improve air quality, what we are doing in the area of waste. So solutions exist, but it is true that time is running out, and this is why we are grateful that the young generation is saying, do more, we need you to act, we need urgent solutions, there is no time to lose.
It is time to conclude our interview. Many thanks for your time. In closing, would you like to send any of the message to the youth who are about to make their choice to enroll to a university by advising them about potential job opportunities related to the environment?
Yes, I think the environment is now one of the areas where you have more opportunities. Because the environment is everywhere, because the environment is global, and because the environment is our future. And also because we need your energy, we need your input, and we need your expertise to come up with solutions. Solutions require innovation, require creativity, require knowledge. We need to have more knowledge of many of the problems we face. And I think if I had to start my studies again, which I did already some time ago, and I was doing economics and law, I think the environment would be one of the most interesting areas which to work, because you have issues which concern the citizens, where you can actually work to solve issues which are very important. There's a big international dimension, and this is very interesting because you can participate also in global projects and in global approaches. There are things linked to technology, which have an important dimension. There are things linked to implementation, communication. So I think it's one of the most attractive areas to work. And if you are interested in science, I think the environment and science go together. If you are interested in legal issues, the legal issues and environmental issues are very important. If you are interested in economics, the economics of the environment, how do we price externalities? How do we deal with pollution? And so at the end of the day, I think the working for the environment is not only a very attractive area for potential professional development, but it's also so close to our daily lives that it is very concrete. And this is also a very interesting area where you can deliver concrete solutions to solve many of the problems that we as human beings have. In this planet, many people say we have to save the planet, we have little time. I think the problem will not be the planet. The planet will continue. The problem is whether we will continue in this planet, or we will suffer the extinction that many species are done. If we don't change the model, we are not more sustainable, we will not be able to do so. And for that, we need the creativity, we need the energy, and we need the innovative ideas in all areas, whether you are talking about pollution, whether you are talking about science, whether you are talking about emissions, water, air quality, chemicals, where there are solutions there, but we count also on your creativity, on your expertise, and also on your strong support and encouragement to say, you have created a lot of mess. We are probably the first generation who has, someone said, we are the first generation, who has realized that we have a serious problem, but we don't want to be the last that said we had to do action and we were not able. So we have the moral obligation, the responsibility to start tackling the problems, and then you will come and hopefully we'll be able to implement the solutions. Because the solutions exist, what we have to ensure is political will and global solutions. And this is what the EU is trying to do.
Thank you again, Director.
Thank you very much, Lorenzo.
Thank you very much.
Great pleasure.